to back. So they actually won that second game. That was done by all bench players, and they won that game, which is a positive sign. So you see that your bench can put in some points possibly when they need to, because that's going to be important in that series against the Knicks that you got coming up. Hey Willie, what's up, man? How you doing, sir?
Cleveland is the city where we come from, so run, run.
What's up, man? What's going on?
Oh man, I thought I was gonna get shut out this week, man, because I've been chilling. I've been chilling in the clubhouse for like the last 5 to 7 minutes. I didn't think DJ Cristal wanted me to come on today. What's up?
None. DJ Cristal's running his mouth for somebody else right now, so he probably didn't hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, good for him.
So Willie, I was just talking about yesterday how the Cleveland Cavaliers finished their regular season game, and now as they prep, the regular season game was a loss. Only two starters played, and that was Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, and they played the first quarter or what have you. And to finish off the season, we had two games against Orlando, the back-to-back games in Orlando, and the second game the starters played. So not the starter, excuse me, the bench played. So I was just saying before you got on, that was a good opportunity because when we played the New York Knicks, the bench was outscored 41-21. So, having them in, and they actually won that second game against Orlando with the bench, I believe is a great opportunity to have the bench players get some confidence, because we're going to need that bench in that game against New York. Right now, as it stands, Julius Randle is questionable. And Isaac Okoro is questionable. There's no timetable on his knee. He's had 7 games or maybe 8 games now with the last two, in which he hasn't played due to knee soreness. And I was saying last week, I think this team is going to need him more than ever during this series. And also New York is going to need Julius Randle as well. But when they came in here, they was able to beat us without Julius Randle because Jalen Brunson went kind of crazy. What are your thoughts about this upcoming series?
Yeah, we talked about this last week on the show, and
We
I don't.
did.
Yeah, we did. We did. Well, I said I'm gonna say this part. I'm gonna say this. What I'm about to say, I said on the last show or last week.
I
So,
don't remember.
well, I will refresh your memory. I
Thank
am
you. I'm getting
I,
older.
I am that type of fella. Uh, so I think with the home court advantage being in the favor of the Cavaliers, that is that's something that is critical. And them, of course, having the better player of either team or on their team with Donovan Mitchell. And thirdly, I think this is going to be part of the, what do you call it, the intangibles. Um, a lot of people for that are New York Knicks fans are going to be really, really upset should the Cavaliers beat the Knicks in this first round, because the Knicks, if you remember, were in the running to trade for one Donovan Mitchell. I think RJ Barrett was on that deal and a couple of other pieces. But, you know, needless to say, it didn't happen. And the rest, as they say, is history. So I believe that when you have the home court advantage and when you have the best player on either squad, that gives you a leg up. Now, I understand what you said in terms of them being blown out or beaten up pretty good the last time they played a meaningful game without Julius Randle. Okay, that stuff happens all the time. I really wouldn't put too much stock in it if I were Cleveland Cavaliers fans. And then another thing too that you have to look at it from this standpoint too is that, yeah, Jalen Brunson is that dude. I mean, he really is. And the playoff experience that he got last year in the Mavs and helping lead them to the Western Conference Finals, with Luka not performing as great as he would have, or what he had really done during the regular season, that is going to be sort of an X factor. But I just believe that when you have home court advantage and when you have the best player on the floor, when he's out there, you're going to be successful, in my opinion, more often than not.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm just, a little bit nervous considering how flat the Cavs looked in that game. That was a critical game for them and a preview matchup to what's going to be. And, I just was a little bit concerned with the way that the Knicks, played in the way the Cleveland Cavaliers did. And, one of the things is, they can't fall behind early. They can't fall into a deep hole very early because they exert so much energy with trying to come back that they're gassed. So that's one of the things is, they believe that they can come from behind. I believe that they haven't lost the overtime game or anything like that this season. So I don't want stuff like that to kind of get in their heads and gas them up that we can always come back because that's not possible. And, nobody on that roster really has playoff experience except for Donovan. Danny Green does, and Jetty Osmond was on that team that went to the finals in 2018. So a lot of people don't, and Jetty's a bench player, so Jetty's not a starter, and so is Danny Green. Danny Green has 3 rings to his credit, but outside of him. As far as the starters go, the only player that has, well, Jared might, I think, with the Nets. Jared Allen might have some with the Nets, but excuse me, those veterans, you hope that they can get this team together and tell these young guys what playing in the playoffs is all about and get them ready, from a mental aspect. So, I was just a little bit worried how New York Knicks came in here and kind of kicked our butts. We got out rebounded and things of that nature. So, I think everything needs to come together in order for us to be able to beat this team. And, they can't mess around. And like I said, getting into that big hole early. And one of the things is we're going to see how good of a coach JB really is. This is will be his first playoff series, and can he get this team over? And if he can get this team over, what happens against Milwaukee? With the X's and O's and things of that nature. So I'm just a little bit concerned, not in which I feel like the Cavs will lose this series. A lot of people are predicting that they'll win it like in 5 games or something like that. But I don't believe that. I could see this being a 6-game series, possibly 7.
Yeah, I think a lot of people seem to think that these two teams are pretty evenly matched. The Knicks are in a position to where they haven't been in a few years. The last time they were actually in this position was, I want to say, 2019. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's when they had the meltdown against the Atlanta Hawks, and the Knicks went into that series as the number 4 seed, and then of course Atlanta went all the way to the conference finals, where they faced off against the Heat. I believe it was. That may have been 20. No, that was in the bubble. So, but anyway, I just believe that you have two squads here that are looking for an opportunity to get back to the recent prominence or the historical prominence, much more for the Knicks in terms of how long it's been, but for the Cleveland Cavaliers in a post LeBron James era, where I remember talking to some people in Cleveland a while back, and a
You
lot of
got other
them,
friends here besides me?
yeah,
Uh,
you number one though, straight up. Um,
okay.
but there's you, and then there's Kate, and then there's John Suchan, and then there's Kate. I'm sorry,
Natalie.
there's Natalie, and then of course there's Marshawn. So in talking to, and even on Twitter, talking to some people, I don't think they being Cavs fans thought that this would be a a position in which they would see the Cavs in this close after LeBron James left and after the hiring of JB Bickerstaff, who they wanted to run out of town after the first couple years there. Um, I like the way, I love the way that the front office has put things together.
Hmm.
Last year when they played in the playing game against the Nets, I mean they weren't nearly as talented as the Nets.
Hmm.
And then the Nets, of course, went on to win that game, and then they got swept by the Celtics in the first round. But I think that some of that play-in game experience may actually bleed over into this. Now, if you look at it from the standpoint and from the roster as a whole, yeah, the Knicks obviously have more playoff experience with the players on their team than what the Cavs have.
Hmm.
I and the Knicks. I'm not saying that the Knicks are sorry by any stretch of the imagination. The Knicks they have Julius Randle, who was one of the most improved players in the league a couple years ago. You get Jalen Brunson in the offseason. And then they have some bigs that are lengthy and athletic as well, and they got some rim protectors too. So that might actually offset what Darius Garland and what Donovan Mitchell can do. But Donovan Mitchell, didn't I see something that Donovan Mitchell has broken the Cavaliers 3-point record for this season?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he don't have to just take it to the 10. He can shoot it from outside as well. I think it's going to be important that the bench for the Cavaliers really show up more so than they did against the Knicks about a while back, and really they're going to be needed because you don't have. One thing that you said I would disagree with is that when you say you can't get down early, yeah, nobody ever wants to get down big early like that. But the difference between this and that is that you have 4 chances to win, okay? And in the playoffs, we see it so many times where everybody makes a run. You may be up by 20 in the first half, and then you may end up losing by 20. So that doesn't bother me that much.
Sorry. I'm doing some production stuff.
Well, hey, sometimes we have to do it all. We got to produce content. We got to engineer. We got to host. I mean, it gets exhausting sometimes, you know?
Yeah. I understand why you disagree with me, but I don't know if this is a team that's really built to come back from big deficits though. And that's my thing. It scares me a little bit. Because this team is so young, I don't feel like they know how to finish some games sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing that concerns me a little bit, is that the inability to finish games.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to not well, when you're down like that, uh-oh, what happened? When you're down like that, I don't know if finishing is as much as important as starting. Um Now, it's funny. It is real funny because um I think the Knicks, I think the Knicks,
Bless you.
yeah, thank you. I think the Knicks, if they win this series, they move on to play the Milwaukee. I'm sorry, they will move on. Yeah, they will move on to play the Milwaukee Bucks. That will be it for them. And I don't know what to
How do you
see.
know that?
Huh?
How do you know that?
How do I know what?
They can shock the world if they play the Milwaukee Bucks.
They're not
You
going to
said
beat the
that would be the
Milwaukee
end of
Bucks.
that.
They're not going to beat. Excuse me. They're not going to beat the Milwaukee Bucks.
Nobody agreed with me when I said Iowa was going to beat South Carolina.
Yeah, but this ain't Iowa or South Carolina. This is Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he is on a mission. You know what I love about Giannis is that it doesn't matter how great he is, he wants to be even greater the very next minute he's on the floor than he was previously. And I am not saying that I'm a Milwaukee Bucks fan,
I know.
but what I am saying is when you play defense the way that they do, when you have a big three the way that they do, when you have a guard in Drew Holiday that is widely considered the best two-way guard in the NBA, yeah, that's going to be hard to beat. Now, they have some injury concerns with Chris Middleton. A lot of people seem to think that if Chris Middleton was healthy last year, they probably would have beaten the Celtics. Who knows? But yeah, you obviously can't be a juggernaut like that without one of your main cogs. And he actually, to me, is a stabilizing force between Drew and Giannis. He's kind of like that. He's not a Batman, but he's not really a Robin. He's more like a Bat Robin or a Robin Bat. So look, I'm rooting for the Cavaliers, man, because I don't think the Lakers are going to make it out of the first round. If the Lakers are going to wind up facing the Denver Nuggets after they beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I don't know if you saw the Minnesota Timberwolves and the meltdown on the
Yeah, we
sideline.
gonna talk about that. We gonna get into that though, because we gonna
Oh,
take a commercial break right
okay.
quick, and then we're gonna come back and talk about all those points. We got some comments and stuff like that too. But we're gonna take our first break, and you're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports. And remember, you can always keep it locked here on your regular radio dial at 95.9 FM. You can download that WOVU app and listen to us on the go. You can also listen online at WOVU.org. And you can always contact the station at 216-271-0959. And I'm here with Willie Epting Jr. Going to read some comments because we're going to get back into this basketball commentary and what's going to happen in these playoffs. And Mickey says, "Hey, Rachel, what's up, beautiful?" And he asks about where Brandy is. Brandy comes in on Tuesdays, Mickey, so you can see her there. So make sure you join us on Tuesdays. And then George says, "I went to only one Cavs game this season, and it was against the Knicks as they won. Will you enjoy the fact that we made the playoffs without the help of LeBron? By the way, Dumb Dolan owns the Knickerbockers and it's his cash cow. Stupid is in New York's vocabulary as to what they think of him. By the way, hello to both of you, Rachel and Mr. Epstein." George also says, "Willie, sir, they're not sorry, the Knickerbockers. They've been looking for that superstar that wants to play there, and Dolan prevents it." And then he said, "Did the stupid button get pressed by Rudy G? That was a move um, he made. The Timberwolves made right now. Hold on, I gotta move this. Made
Suspending
right
him.
now. Maybe suspend him for the play in the game. They were both sent home as well that game, I believe. So supposedly they might have talked it out. But before we get back to that basketball talk, what is up with Rudy? Why can't he get along with anybody on his teams? Is it because he's French and they just act different? Frenchy,
Oui.
right? Parlez-vous français?
Yeah, parlez-vous français.
Voulez-vous les chers m'asseoir?
Have you seen Genevieve?
French fries.
French toast. um, I don't know what's up. I don't know what's up with Rudy Gobert. Maybe he's mad because I don't know. I mean, he gave Donovan Mitchell COVID last year.
Yeah.
Or no, that was 2 years ago because wasn't it their game that started the whole thing in terms of the pandemic and the NBA being shut down?
Yeah, they had just played the Cavaliers because I had some concerns because the Cavs are really bad then. So what I would do is I would go into the opposing team's locker room if they have superstars, and I was going to go get some quotes from Rudy Gobert. And then at the last minute, I was like, I don't feel like going in the locker room. And then not even 2 days later, after 2 days later, maybe the news came out that he had COVID, and he had downplayed COVID and was like, whatever, because a lot of times reporters will put their microphones at the table. You guys probably see that too. And they'll
Mm-hmm.
put the recorders and stuff on the table. And Rudy like touched all of them, like, yeah, there's nothing to worry about or anything like that. And Donovan Mitchell and him, had a falling out because, like I said, Gobert did not take COVID seriously. So I don't know if Donovan got COVID or not, but I know
He did.
Donovan. Okay, he did. Okay,
Yeah.
so I know he was really mad about that and how Rudy acted like that, and you got people out here dying. So that's one of the reasons that they had a falling out or whatever, and rightfully so. You got a disease that's killing thousands of people. Or at that time thousands of people, but ended up killing millions of people worldwide, and you're thinking it's a joke or something. So that was pretty much the gist of him and Donovan getting into it.
Yeah. So I forgot your original question. Oh, why can't people get along with why Rudy Gobert can't get along with people? I think we just answered the question. I mean, I don't know the guy personally. I've never talked to him, but it just seems like to me that he might be a little bit of a I can't say it on these airwaves.
Yeah, don't.
But I do have a question though. How is it in the world that you get to be called by your first name on a first name basis with George, but yet he calls me Mr. Epting? What's up with that?
I don't know. Are you jelly or something?
Yeah, I don't want to be called Mr. Epting
Why not? I
because I
look at
want.
it as a sign of respect.
Well, then I don't like it then because he don't respect you.
Me and George have known each other forever, though, so I'm like, I'm okay with it.
He ain't ever called me Mr. Epting on none of these other shows.
Haven't I called you Mr. Epstein before?
You better not ever do that.
Why?
That will be my last time on Her in the Huddle.
Oh my God. Is that a threat?
No, it's a promise.
You know me, I'll be trying to call people's bluff sometimes. So
Yeah, you don't want to do that, man. You don't want to. I don't think I could stay away though, because you know what? We had that season where I was going into the office on every Tuesday and Wednesday, and I just couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand not being on Her in the Huddle, and that went on for what, almost a year, huh?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, George, I'm just busting your chops, man. I
He
know.
said, "Here, hi, Willie."
Oh, appreciate that, GB. GB is always checking in, man, on all of our stuff. I mean, he's been on the hashtag Brothers of Baseball show making comments. He's been on the Ballers Report. He's been on the Shakebacks. I mean, he's been all over with us, and that's a ride or die
Yeah.
cat right there. So
Mm-hmm.
much love to you, GB, man.
A
I'm
lot
just
of
joking with you.
support, a lot of love.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate George all the time.
Yeah. So yeah, there it is. Okay, so that was my question about that. Now, uh so what do you think was going through the heads of those players on the Timberwolves sideline, knowing that this was the last game of the year? They have this important game where they're gonna have to go out to Los Angeles and play a Lakers team that is 18-7 since the trade deadline. Did you know that?
Mm.
Yes. The Lakers were at 500 for the first time in the NBA season, I think after game 76 or 77, something like that.
Mm.
They go on to win and finish up with 43 wins, which is, not terrible, but considering where the Lakers started and in terms of where it was with when Russell Westbrook was on the squad, yeah, I'm not saying that Darvin Ham should be coach of the year, But I mean, it's a lot better than where we were headed. So, what do you think was going through those dudes' heads when they? I'm laughing at Mickey's comment.
Hmm.
You go have to read it.
I see it.
So what do you think was going through those heads when that happened? Because obviously, I mean, they're pretty inexperienced. They were in the playoffs last year. I get it. And they actually gave Memphis all they wanted. But to do this at this point in time, and they've already, in my opinion, underachieved vastly this year. You think they just, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it.
They had their way with the Cavaliers. But this is something that we've seen on all sidelines, Willie. We've seen it take place in the NFL. We've seen it not really seen it take place in Major League Baseball that much, but we've seen it in the NFL, players and getting into it and players, getting into it with coaches and stuff like that, those sideline issues. But I think it's a team that, feels a lot of pressure, and things like that, and a lot of emotion, and they just broke. They got calling each other names and all that other stuff. It wasn't very brotherly. But these teams, they claim that, they talk about it and they hash it out, they're grown men and stuff like that. And you truly hope so. Like I said, seems to be kind of a pattern with Rudy, getting into it with teammates. And like I said, I don't know if it's because he's French and they do things a different way, but you got to get along with your teammates, and you kind of, after a certain point, you point the finger at somebody, you got three pointing back at you. So you got to kind of acknowledge what you've done wrong too. So, hopefully that they can get passes, because you said that they got to play in game, that they got to go play against the Los Angeles Lakers, who are surging. I think that I did say that LeBron would be able to get this team to the playoffs, didn't I?
You probably did.
I think I did though. I think I
Yeah,
did.
you did.
Some way, somehow, he was going to be able to get this team to the playoffs, and I was doubting that it was going to happen because the Knicks, not the Knicks, but the Lakers are so sorry, and AD is always hurt. So I knew that it was going to be something, but I felt like that team improved at the trade deadline, and LeBron finally had some pieces, and then he got injured, so he was out for 3 weeks, but I felt like he'd be able to drag them. So I guess these are dust ups that happen all the time. Think about the stuff that we don't see during the games, when they're in practice and, they're practicing hard and all that other stuff. I guess teammates get after each other sometimes. And I look at it as, this is one of the things that happen.
No, you can't. You can't do that. You can't do that um, in the game on the sideline. That just can't happen. And I actually I know these dudes are grown men, and I know that emotions are a huge part of what happens. Um, but I put this on the brass of the Timberwolves. I mean, there's cameras everywhere now, and even if and even look, there's this thing called league pass, okay, that the NBA has. No longer are you just not able to watch games in your own market throughout the week anymore. These things can be seen by everyone everywhere at the same time, and we don't have to wait for Sports Center or Get Up or whatever the case may be. Um, so I put some of this onus on the coaching staff, in their preparation for these games, particularly with them being on TV way more than they have ever been before. Now, does that completely exonerate the players? Though, of course not. It doesn't. And Anthony Edwards, I mean, he has had a tremendous year, and I think for the T Wolves, um, yeah, I thought they would really ascend a little bit more this year than they did. And I know they had a lot of injuries. I know the big cat was out for a little while. That dude won. Oh, by the way, that dude did win the 3-point contest too, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So he can play. We know he can play. They don't play no defense up there in Minneapolis, though. I don't know what's up with that. So, but you were talking about baseball and football and what we've seen, from teammates on the sideline. Man, I remember Reggie Jackson used to get into it with everybody. Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Reggie Jackson has 544 career home runs. He had a candy bar named after him, and he look. That dude is the only dude to hit 3 home runs in a World Series game.
Mm.
So it happens. But again, back then, it wasn't nearly the potential exposure than it is now.
Hmm. Yeah. All right, we're gonna take a break, but right now, score update: the bottom of the first, the Cleveland Yankees.
Wow.
The Yankees are up over the Cleveland Guardians right now, 2-0 in the bottom of the first. So I don't know how that happened so quick. But worry, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Are more expensive today. Food, gas, utilities, internet, all around us, prices just keep climbing. But now, getting connected to the internet doesn't have to be frustrating or expensive. When you call the digital navigators at 216-307-6990, they'll connect you to the plans and devices that fit your budget, as well as free training and support. Call Digital Navigators today at 216-307-6990. Thank you for listening to WOVU 95.9 FM, Burtonville Car Community Radio.
Ohio is our home,
Listen up. So
and it's full of families we're proud to care for. With more than 200 locations, Cleveland Clinic is growing to bring world-class care to your community. From Canton to Avon, and coming soon to Mentor. Whether it's sniffles and sneezes, or something more serious, big or small, we're always near you. For every care in the world. Schedule your care today at clevelandclinic.org/access.
This message was brought to you by WOVU 95.9 FM, Burton Bell Car Community Radio.
Do you have basic questions related to employment, unemployment, or student loans? Call Legal Aid's Economic Justice Information Line at 216-861-5899. Leave a short message with your question, and a legal aid representative will return your call. That's 216-861-5899.
This message is brought to you by the Legal Aid Society and WOVU 95.9 FM. Our Voices United, a Burtonville Car Community Radio station.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle, WOVU 95.9 FM, and I'm here with Willie Epting Jr., and we are talking about some basketball right now. Willie is flashing the peace sign for those who cannot see us, who are listening on regular radio, but we got some comments, and Mickey apologizes to Willie for not mentioning him. Willie the Faker are not going nowhere. I don't know what that means, Mickey.
He's saying the Lakers aren't going anywhere.
Oh, okay. George says, remember the Lakers started 2-10 and finished over 500. And George says, how about a playoff team, 1-6 in any conference that can make some noise and surprise the NBA? Mickey says he loves my light, so I got the strobe lights going in the background. Probably shouldn't have it, since I have a disability, but we'll let it go. And George says Reggie Jackson, Billy Martin blowouts are legendary. Watch our video and you'll see. So Reggie Jackson was an ornery dude, huh?
Look, Billy Martin was equally as ornery because he is the only manager that I've seen in the history of managerisms that got hired for the New York Yankees and fired on the same day. But him and George Steinbrenner had a love-hate relationship. So that was in a press conference that they did when he was introduced, I think, for the second or third time as the Yankee manager. And then he said, you're going to do things my way, and if you don't, then you're fired. Wait a minute, you just hired this dude again. So, but yeah, Billy Martin, and that was the days when they were in Oakland, and the A's were winning championships like, let me think. Look, Oakland has seen its set of dynasties when it comes to the Warriors and the A's, and even to agree to the Raiders, because the Raiders won 2 Super Bowls in 4 years at one point. So my city is not gonna have another team here pretty soon. I'm gonna cry.
It's messed up, man.
Yeah, it is. So anyway,
What sports gonna talk? What sports talk gonna talk about? The Warriors all day.
I mean, they'll still have the Warriors and the Giants and the 49ers.
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
Oakland and San Fran wanted to stand alone and be their own, be their
Well,
own entities.
it's like that, but most of the media stuff is in San Francisco. I think there may be, I know KTVU, which is the Fox affiliate, is in Oakland, but really the other stations are all housed in San Francisco.
Hmm.
So, then you have the Oakland Tribune, the paper there. So I don't know. Oakland is just it's not what it once was. It's terrible.
Well, we know that they ain't about to have no teams.
Mm-hmm. And
That
they,
sucks.
and the only team that they have that would consider to be professional is the Bay Area Bandits, which is the Arena League team owned by Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Or he's one of
Sorry,
the owners
Oakland.
anyway. So
That sucks when teams are losing people. So right now they are in the top of the second, 2 runners on at first and second, and Shane Bieber is pitching. So I'm kind of surprised that this is what's taking place right now. With Shane Bieber on the mound. So looks like he's given up 4 hits already. So that definitely sucks. And he's walked Gleyber Torres. So little Shane Bieber like. But yesterday, the Guardians had to come back from Seattle's clutches, and they almost got swept in their opening series. So had they not had that victory yesterday, they would have been swept in the opening series. And last week, I gave the stat about like their opening games, and they were like 17-35 on opening day or something, ridiculous like that. And then also, they lost on opening day, I believe, like 5-3. So that was not a good day. And this is just a team in which they just played like last week and took the series 3-4. So, I don't know what happened once they came back home. It was a beautiful day. Well, it wasn't a beautiful day. The sun was shining, the weather was kind of cold, but, I don't really know what happened. Aaron Savali pitched and opened up the season opener. I did ask him, was there any nervousness, even though, he had already played a game and stuff like that. And he did say, that there was a little nervousness coming out, always being an opening day starter and stuff like that. He didn't play too bad. Cleveland opened up a 3-0 lead, but then they fell behind. So that wasn't a great thing. And the crazy thing about yesterday was that the Cavs and Guardians played pretty much at the same time, 40 minutes apart. The Cavs started at 1 o'clock. The Guardians started at 1:40. So I thought I'd have time to make it to both games. And by the time I got done with Cavs stuff, I walked out and it was like 9:10. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go ahead and go home. And it turns out that I shouldn't have went home because there was some action that was going over across the street at Progressive Field, and it turned out that the Guardians had discovered their late inning mojo, and just in time to avoid a sweep on Sunday after their homeowner finale. So they was able to win in extra innings yesterday in the 12th inning to give Cleveland a 7-6 walk-off win. So Jose Ramirez scored on an RBI fielder's choice grounder by Josh Bell in the 12th inning to give them the win. He slid under the tag of Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh as the Guardians dugout emptied onto the field. And, let me say this, this is a good thing for Josh Bell because he's got off to a very slow start here with the Cleveland Guardians. I think he was like 1 for 10 or something like that. So this is very good for him, even though it wasn't a big hit. I guess it was a squibbler that happened. They were able to come from behind and hopefully build a little confidence, within himself. Because like I said, he hasn't gotten off to the best start. And, people will continue to point out the contract, 2 years for $33 million. That's what, we do here. Okay, he did bad. This is how much he's getting paid. He shouldn't shouldn't be doing bad. Where, he has to get used to playing in American leagues and stuff like that. And, we expect, eventually, we will expect a lot more out of him. But right now, it's the beginning of the season. I'm not expecting a ton from anybody. I was hoping that the Guardians, could get off to a good start. And it appears that they did, it appears that they did in Seattle and also in Oakland too. But then they came back and, Seattle kind of got into them. And unfortunately, they're still down 2-3. So Aaron Judge just went down, striking out, which is great. So so that's where they're at right now. So they were able to get that win yesterday, and that win is critical for confidence and stuff like that, because people are expecting this Guardians team to do what they did last year and take the American League Central. So that's, the expectations that people are expecting is that continuation on. I got them at 100 wins for the season. I need them to right the ship right now. They can't be losing to the Yankees. And one of the things I like about this season is that they play everybody. Like, I was a huge interleague, play fan of that, just not seeing, the Detroit Tigers 200 games a year. I was tired of that, Kansas City Royals, and, seeing our division, for all those games. So I love it. So I think it'll be a true test, how good this team is. Can they go in there and beat the National League teams and stuff like that? So, that's important to me and stuff like that.
Yeah. And when you go out on the road and you beat a Seattle team that obviously was in the playoffs last year, and then you go down the coast and you beat a team in the Oakland A's that's obviously in rebuild mode, you come home with that momentum and you expect that you would get off to a decent start in your home park, and it just didn't happen. I have a question. How far is it from, what is it? What's the name? What is it? Quicken
Rocket Mortgage?
Rocket Mortgage to Progressive Field.
They're across the street. They're like not even across the street from each other. I'd say not even 50 yards from each other.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That close?
Mm-hmm.
So how far is First Energy Stadium from those two places?
That's a ways away. You literally could walk there from the arena and stuff like that, but that's a little bit of a walk to do that. So I would say it'd be probably like 20-minute walk, 25-minute walk.
That's how it is here with AT&T Stadium and Globe Life Park and Globe Life Field, but where the mass play is downtown Dallas, which is 30 minutes from where the Cowboys and the Rangers play.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep.
Because they're out there. Where are they at?
In Arlington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why'd they put those teams there in Arlington, not Dallas?
Well, the Rangers have always been in Arlington. And the Cowboys were in Irving, but the mayor of Dallas at the time where those things were being proposed decided not, or she shot down, Dallas County shot down the chance to bring the Cowboy Stadium and the Ranger Stadium to the same location or area where the Mavs play. There's enough, because that place has grown up so much down there that it's a whole bunch of parking garages and high-rise buildings and all that. And then we have a horse race track here too, called the Texas something other. I forgot what it is, and it's actually in Grand Prairie, and which is between Arlington and Dallas. And they were trying to get all of those things in Dallas County, but they only got one.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, George says it sucks that the Yankees and the Guardians series is today, tomorrow, Wednesday. Who was the genius that scheduled that? Usually this is a moneymaker for the club. Big deal. Cleveland won one game at home from the Mariners. Yeah, George, I agree with George. And then it's a 6:10 start too. One of the things I think that they try to do is get that downtown crowd who's getting off of work, not, keeping them downtown so they don't have to drive back home and then come back in. So that's some of the 6:10 starts are designed to do, because it, unfortunately, it's not a great thing for me because, we get off air at 7:00. So that's not a good thing for me. But, on Wednesday is the getaway day. So you got a 1:30 game, against the Yankees. So like George said, I don't know who scheduled that and why they scheduled this so early in the season while they're trying to get their their kinks worked out and stuff like that, and then they go to Yankee Stadium, and I believe in May. So that's the series. That's the series for the year. It happens so early. So I'd rather it happen a little later in the season, but Rob Manfred didn't ask me. So
I got a question too.
oh gosh, we 2 minutes over break. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, let's take the break.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. We will be right back.
We have people from all over the world listening to WOVU 95.9 FM. From Denmark, India, Israel, Zimbabwe, Ukraine, Kosovo, Paraguay, Eritrea.
Happy birthday, WOVU 95.9 FM. My name is Aisha Tambajan from Denmark, currently living in the Gambia, where I am originally from.
Hello, everybody. Happy birthday, WOVU. Mazel Tov. I'm Reut Nagal from Tel Aviv, Israel. I really love the work that you do here. You bring a lot of pride to the people, so thank you for the work that you do.
What's good? What's popping, my loves? My name is Jordan Janetta, and I am from Harare, Zimbabwe. I would love to give a huge happy birthday to WOVU 95.9. This is 5 years of amazing radio, doing amazing things, and I'm so grateful to be here and to be seeing the beautiful faces that run this amazing station and the amazing community of Cleveland that exists around this station. And I'm so happy to see everything that's being done. So thank you for having me and happy birthday.
Hello, Cleveland. This is Neelam Jain from India. I am a part of the International Visitors Leadership Program. So grateful for I am thankful to WOVU for having us speak and wishing WOVU 95.9 a very happy birthday.
Our sound waves are reaching the world for the 5th year in a row, and we're looking for your voice to help us celebrate this year. Call 216-200-7848 and leave a birthday message or anniversary shout out. I'm DJ Black Unicorn, the production assistant here at WOVU 95.9 FM. Thank you so much for listening. Our voices united at Burton Bell Park Community Radio Station.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle, WOVU 95.9 FM. Score update is that the Cleveland Guardians have a run on the board. So it's 2-1 Yankees. Shut up, Will. Looks like there was a sacrifice fly. Mike Zunino walks. So right now, they have a runner on first with 2 outs. What do you think about Mike Zunino? Have you got a chance to check out any Guardian games?
I checked out one game against the A's in that series, and I remember Straw had made this catch out over the center field wall that would have actually put the A's back on top, or put them on top. After a home run by, I forgot who it was for the A's. It was his first one of his career. And that dude Straw went up there and just robbed. I mean, it was phenomenal. So, but to answer your question, not so much as Zanino, no.
Yeah, defense isn't there. One thing I would give Austin Hedges, I think he was a much better catcher. He just couldn't produce anything offensively. So hopefully, Mike Zunino can get it together. But it was a sacrifice, of Austin Hedges for Mike Zunino. So at the end of the day, you're going to need great defense, but you also need some bats at the end of the lineup too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Can I ask my question now?
Yes. I was about to say you were asking your question.
So tell me what was up with Travis Kelce and the first pitch.
Oh, God. I still think 50 Cent has the worst pitch. But, yeah, I don't know if he was trying to spike the ball or what he was trying to do. So I was a little bit perplexed about if he was really trying to throw, opening pitch. I don't know, but Shane Bieber and Slider kind of had to move out the way or whatever, because they didn't want to get hit by the ball. So I don't know if he was trying to spike it, or I don't know if he was actually trying to throw a pitch and it was just that bad.
Well,
because we expected big things out of Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly wouldn't have not have expected that, especially with the windup that he went. I mean, he went into the windup like he was a true pitcher,
Hmm.
and then the
Well,
ball just.
first you see him take his shirt off, the Guardians jersey to show he had on the T-shirt that said "I'm from Cleveland."
Mm-hmm.
He ain't really from Cleveland though. That's like me saying I'm from Cleveland.
You are from Cleveland.
I'm not. I'm from
Where
the
you from?
Suburbs.
Suburbs. Okay,
Yeah,
so
he from the suburb right next to me.
which is what, Glenville Heights?
No, that's in Cleveland.
Oh,
It's not Glenville Heights.
oh, it's Glenville High
It's
School.
just, yeah, it's Glenville High School and then Ginn Academy. But yeah, so I live in Shaker Heights, which is east of Cleveland or
How
whatever in the
how
suburbs.
far away?
From Cleveland,
Yeah,
about 20 minutes. Like it take me about 23
that,
minutes to get downtown from my house.
okay. So that's Cleveland. Is
Hmm.
it still is it in Cuyahoga County?
Yes, in Cuyahoga County. What you know about
Okay,
Cuyahoga
so
County?
everybody knows about Cuyahoga County. So that will be considered Cleveland. Okay, it takes me 40 minutes to get to downtown Dallas, and I live in a whole separate county. But
That's some stuff.
when people say where you from, I'll say I live in I'm from Dallas.
Yeah, that's what we say. We from Cleveland.
Okay, so
Because it's
you
just
Cleveland
easier.
then.
It's
Yeah,
just easier.
exactly. So to the locals, you'll say I'm from Shaker Heights,
Yeah.
but to everybody else, you'll say you're from Cleveland.
Yeah, but but most people know, like, you know what I'm saying, the difference and stuff like that. So most people know, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So even like if I'm in Ohio, I'll tell people I'm from Shaker Heights. But if I'm out of state, I tell people I'm from Cleveland. Because
Exactly.
Shaker Heights is kind of a very famous town. Like Paul Newman is from here, Molly Shannon, Kim Whitley. There's a lot. Machine Gun Kelly is from here, Kid Cudi. So we got some the Leverts. So we got some famous people, from our town. So they might know. But Shaker Heights is kind of known for having some famous people come from here, or whatever. So yeah.
Okay. I
And
love
Travis
it.
is always repping Cleveland Heights. So yeah, we had Nate. We had Nate Clements. That he was a cornerback. Also Courtney Ledyard. So we had a couple dudes. Terry Rozier that played for Charlotte. A couple players turned pro and stuff like that.
I thought he
Archie
was from
Griffin's
Akron.
son went to our high school. So
I thought Terry Rozier was from Akron.
he's from Shaker Heights. He
Okay.
played for Shaker Heights. Put it like that. But
I always enjoy the geography part.
Yeah, because when I lived in Richmond, Virginia, I didn't live in a county. And I was really weirded out by that because, I'm from Shaker Heights, which is Cuyahoga County. And I was asking my friend, I was like, so what county do I live in? And she like, you don't live in a county, you live in a city. I'm like, okay, well, what county is my city situated in? She's like, it's not. It's just the city of Richmond, no county. And I couldn't get that that for the life of me because I'm thinking everybody is, from a county.
Oh, George says, wouldn't you say you're from the Metroplex and daze and confuse people? I like that question, George. And this is funny because, and we didn't got way off of sports, but I think it was drawing some some ratings. No, George, I don't say I'm from the Metroplex because the Metroplex has I want to say 5 different counties that are considered to be a part of the Metroplex. And then when you have Fort Worth, which is we'll say on the other side of the Metroplex, and then people from over there in the Fort Worth area and its suburbs was called Dallas, the other side of the Metroplex. It's just too big of a territory. And when you have cities like Arlington and Plano and Garland that all have 300,000 people or more a piece,
oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy. And Fort Worth, it takes me about an hour and a half to get to Fort Worth. So you just can't say the Metroplex. People will say North Texas before they say the Metroplex.
What is actually the Metroplex?
It's Dallas, Fort Worth, and all of the surrounding cities that are within. There's 2 loops, right? There's the 820 loop in Fort Worth, and then in Dallas there's 20 and 635. And actually there's also George Bush, the Turnpike, which is outside of all of those. But the Metroplex is considered Collin County, where Plano is, and Frisco, where of course the Cowboys training facilities are. And then you have Arlington, you have the mid cities to include Euless, Bedford, Euless, Hurst. They actually call it the HEB. That's all on the Fort Worth side. You have Fort Worth, you have Arlington, and then on the Dallas side, you have Garland, you have Plano, you have Mesquite, you have Grand Prairie. Grand Prairie has grown so much over the years, it ain't even funny. I think they got like 200,000 people out there now too. So it's crazy. It's like 7 million people out here altogether.
Okay, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You think how successful do you think I would be if I went and asked each person for $1?
You'd be very successful.
7 million. You think I can get $7 million out of people from out here?
I think you could.
That would be. I would have to hire some people to take on different areas. That means I have to split my money. I don't want to do that.
But they say some people are professional beggars and they make a lot of money begging.
Yeah, they do. And they had one person posted up on one corner, and then another person posted up on the other corner, and they hide their SL 500s around the building, so nobody can see them getting in it. Because I sure be looking for them.
Yeah, I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I need to be out here with you.
Shoot, man.
You know what I'm saying? But right now at the top of the third, still 2-1. You know, we're gonna see this series. You know, I'm like, I just wish it happened a little bit later in the season though. So Willie, that's our time, man. It went really quickly. You know, got some baseball. We'll get to some football because OBJ just signed with the Ravens for $18 million for 1 year. So you know, we can talk about that tomorrow. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. You've been listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU at 95.9 FM. We are out of here. All right, Willie, I'll holler at you. I got to get to the ballpark.
All right, later.
Okay, bye. Thank you.